The neon lights of Osaka glimmered across the streets of Namba. It was late evening when Keiko walked home after shopping, the sound of the city still alive with chatter and footsteps. She clutched her handbag tightly, weaving through the alleys that connected the bustling shopping arcades to quieter residential lanes. As she paused at a crossing, her phone vibrated. A new text message appeared. "Check your purse. Your daughter-in-law put something inside." Keiko froze. The glow of the screen reflected on her face, her brows tightening in disbelief. The sender was an unknown number. She glanced around instinctively, searching for eyes that might be watching her. Everyone around her seemed busy with their own errands, their own lives. Her pulse quickened. She wanted to dismiss it as a mistake, a prank perhaps, but the words were sharp, deliberate, and strangely urgent. With trembling hands, she opened her bag. Between her folded scarf and wallet, her fingers brushed against a small package wrapped in brown paper. She pulled it out, her breath catching. The package was tightly bound with tape. She peeled it open, revealing neat stacks of cash and a photograph of a man she had never seen before. His face was stern, his eyes cold, as if staring right at her even through the glossy paper. Keiko's chest tightened. Who was this man, and why was this in her purse? The image of her daughter-in-law, Aiko, flashed in her mind. Could it be true? The weight of the money, the sharpness of the unknown face in the photo, and the chilling text sent waves of dread through her. Her instincts told her this was no coincidence. Slowly, she zipped up her bag, forcing herself to appear calm. Around her, Osaka's nightlife carried on as if nothing was wrong. Yet to Keiko, the city suddenly felt different, as though every shadow held secrets and every stranger's glance carried suspicion. She gripped her phone, the message still glowing on the screen, and realized one thing. She could not ignore it. Keiko's feet carried her forward, but her thoughts were trapped in a storm. The photograph and money in her bag seemed heavier with every step she took. She decided not to go home. Not yet. If the message was true, if Aiko had indeed placed it there, then returning home could mean stepping straight into danger. Her path veered toward Namba Police Station. The neon buzz of the streets grew louder behind her, replaced by the steady hum of passing cars and the echo of her hurried footsteps. Osaka at night was rarely quiet, yet Keiko felt as though she were walking through a tunnel of silence, each sound magnified, each shadow menacing. At the station doors, she hesitated. Going inside meant dragging her family into something she did not understand. But keeping it secret could be far worse. With a deep breath, she pushed open the glass doors. A young officer at the desk looked up. "Can I help you?" he asked in a calm, measured tone. Keiko placed the package gently on the counter, her voice low but steady. "I received a message. They told me to check my purse. I found this inside." The officer's eyes flickered with sudden seriousness as he unwrapped the bundle. The money, the photograph, the phone message. Each detail was taken down meticulously. Within minutes, another officer approached, his expression grim. "This is important," he said, motioning for her to follow. "You should tell us everything." Keiko swallowed hard, her fear deepening. Whatever she had stumbled into, it was larger and darker than she had imagined. Inside a small interview room, Keiko sat beneath the sterile white light. The second officer, Detective Sato, placed the photograph before her. "Do you know this man?" he asked. Keiko shook her head firmly. "I have never seen him in my life." Sato leaned closer, lowering his voice. "This man is under investigation. He is connected to a fraud network operating here in Osaka. Large sums of money have gone missing. People's lives have been ruined." Keiko's skin prickled at his words. Fraud. Networks. Investigation. How could something like this have found its way into her handbag? She whispered. "The message said my daughter-in-law put it there." Detective Sato exchanged a glance with the young officer. His face remained calm, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of concern. "Tell me about her," he said gently. Keiko spoke of Aiko. Polite. Respectful. A teacher at a nearby elementary school. A loving mother to Keiko's grandson. Nothing about her seemed capable of something so dangerous. Yet here was proof, or at least the appearance of it. Sato tapped the photo. "We cannot dismiss this. You did the right thing by coming to us. But be cautious. Do not confront her directly." The words pressed into Keiko's chest like a warning bell. Leaving the station, Keiko felt more exposed than before. The city lights that once offered comfort now seemed intrusive, as though every illuminated sign was casting her into view. She tightened her coat and walked briskly home, replaying the detective's words again and again. Do not confront her directly. She reached her apartment, a quiet building near Shinomamiya. The familiar lobby smelled of tatami and faint detergent, but the comfort it once brought was absent. Her eyes scanned the corners, expecting movement where none existed. Upstairs, the apartment door creaked open. Aiko's voice drifted from the kitchen. "You're home late, mother." Keiko forced a smile as she stepped inside. Aiko moved gracefully, her hands busy with dinner. Nothing in her manner betrayed guilt or secrets. Her grandson ran to Keiko, laughing, his small arms wrapping around her legs. Yet the handbag on Keiko's shoulder felt like a weight pulling her down. She could not look at Aiko without hearing that warning again. Later that night, as the apartment settled into silence, Keiko lay awake. Shadows from the streetlights cut across the tatami mat. She turned, only to notice a faint glow slipping through the gap beneath the front door. Someone was standing outside. Keiko rose quietly, her heart pounding. She approached the door, pressing her ear against the wood. A shuffling sound. Slow. Measured. Someone lingered in the corridor. She dared not open it. Instead, she peered through the peephole. A tall man in a dark coat stood there, his head lowered as if listening. She could not see his face clearly, but the shape of his jawline, the cut of his hair, seemed familiar. Her breath caught. It was the man from the photograph. Keiko stumbled back, her hands shaking. He was here, watching, waiting. After several agonizing minutes, the footsteps faded down the hall. Silence returned, but Keiko knew sleep would not come. The danger was no longer distant. It had reached her very door. The following day, Keiko acted as though nothing had happened. She walked with her grandson to the park, her eyes scanning the streets for any sign of the man. Aiko chatted cheerfully beside her, but Keiko heard only fragments of her words. Later, as they returned, Keiko passed by Aiko's room. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, Aiko's voice was low, urgent. "Yes, she doesn't know anything yet. No, I'll make sure of it." The sound of the wardrobe door closing followed quickly, and Aiko emerged moments later, her expression calm, as though nothing unusual had occurred. Keiko felt her throat tighten. Was this proof? Or was she mishearing? Doubt gnawed at her, but the echo of Aiko's whispered words lingered like a shadow. Detective Sato called the next morning. His voice was firm. "We are placing surveillance near your building. The man in the photograph has been spotted in Osaka recently. Do not take risks." Keiko agreed, though fear wrapped around her like a cold cloak. She noticed, for the first time, unmarked cars parked discreetly near the corner of her street. Men in plain clothes loitered, pretending to be ordinary pedestrians. Yet Keiko felt no relief. Instead, she felt trapped, caught between suspicion of Aiko and the terrifying presence of the man who had stood outside her door. One evening, as Keiko returned home, she found an envelope slipped beneath her door. No name, no stamp, only her address scrawled in black ink. Inside was a single note. "Stop talking to the police, or your family will pay." The paper trembled in her hands. Someone knew. Someone was watching her every move. She burned the note in the sink, watching the flame eat away the evidence. Yet its words seared into her memory, impossible to erase. Days passed under unbearable tension. Then, one evening, Keiko followed Aiko discreetly after she left the apartment. The younger woman walked quickly through the streets of Osaka, her steps purposeful, until she reached a dim cafe tucked in an alley. Through the window, Keiko saw her. Aiko sat opposite the very man from the photograph. Their conversation was intense, their gestures sharp, though Keiko could not hear the words. The sight pierced her heart like a blade. It was true. Aiko knew him. Keiko's mind raced. Betrayal. Danger. The weight of the police warning pressing heavily upon her chest. She stepped back from the window, certain that if she stayed a moment longer, she too would be seen. The next morning, police cars swarmed the streets near her apartment. Sirens echoed off the narrow buildings, flashing lights casting red and blue across the walls. Keiko watched from her balcony as officers stormed the cafe she had seen the night before. Moments later, the man from the photograph was dragged out in handcuffs, his face twisted in fury. But it was not only him. Aiko too was led out, her wrists bound, her head lowered. The sight nearly shattered Keiko. Her grandson's laughter echoed from the next room, innocent, unaware. Keiko's hands clutched the railing, her heart a storm of grief and fear. The nightmare had unfolded fully, and the truth was harsher than she had ever imagined. The city below moved on, indifferent, as if Osaka itself had swallowed another secret into its endless, glowing nights.